Good morning slash good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into our second of our growth mindset series. We're so glad to have you. I see that everyone is putting where they're from in the chat because you all know the story how we do that. If you don't see somebody's name you think should be here, get them on in, text them, say, come on through. We're very excited today. We're going to have Travis Robertson, and I'm going to give you a brief introduction to him, but I want to talk about a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You see how many things are popping up in the chat right now. So what we're going to ask of you is if you have a question for Travis, put it in the Q&A, and then toward the end, we're going to try to save a little bit of time. I know Travis has an action-packed hour for you of information. So we're going to try to save a little time at the end to answer those questions as we will. Hopefully we'll get to some of the more pressing ones as we go. But once again, thank you all for being here. And today we have Travis Robertson, who's a real estate coach, entrepreneur, speaker, is dedicated to helping agents and team leaders build thriving businesses and more fulfilling lives. As the founder of Don't Settle Coaching, co-founder of Engineer CRM, and a nationally recognized trainer, he's helped tens of thousands of agents and team leaders improve their sales, leadership, systems, and profitability. Travis is known for delivering practical strategies that create lasting results, and he currently lives in Florida with his wife and their two daughters. And without any further ado, I give you Travis Robertson. Travis, take it away. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Joe, for having me. Thank you to everybody in the network. It's great to be here. I was watching where everybody's from. I'm like, dang, Canada's representing today. There's a lot of Canadians up in here. So great to have you here, Canada. Love seeing you. So anyway, here's what we're going to do. We're going to dive in now real quick. If you've seen me present before, you know that I love to tell stories. We have fun. We laugh. But today is going to be a little different. I'm going to try and throw some jokes in there, but I'll be honest, talking about pipeline stages and automation and AI, it's really hard to be funny. And so it's going to be very technical, very practical. My goal is when you're done with today that you have some clarity around what it's going to take to manage your pipeline, manage your income so that you can make more money more consistently. That's really what I want to help you do. So I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to dive in and we're going to get rocking and rolling. So let me get this blown up. Everybody see my screen? Okay, let me get the chat up here just so that give me a thumbs up in the chat if you see my screen. Lisa, Venice, Florida, right around the corner. That's where I live. So awesome. Okay, is there stuff rolling through? There we go. Thumbs up. See them. Cool. So let's talk about what I call the pipeline fix. This is how to use pipelines, automation, and AI to close more deals. So here's the reality, and I want you to think about this: is that we all hear this. Your money's in the database. You know, your money. Your database is your income opportunity, it's your net worth, your database. Like, we hear all these different variations, and while that can be true for most people, their database is just a collection of names that they have no idea what to do with. And so what you want to be able to do is you want to have a system set up so that when you log into it every day, when you're logging into your CRM every day, you know very quickly, who am I supposed to call, who am I supposed to contact, and what am I supposed to do? And the challenge for most people is you log into your CRM and you're like, it's just a list of hundreds or thousands of names, and I don't even know who's who or what's what or where they are or why they're there or what they're doing. And we have these weird categories for things like hot leads, warm leads, nurture leads, and cold leads, and prospects, and you're just like, but what is a hot lead? Like, they're active on the website. Does that make them hot? You know, they came in yesterday. Well, does that make them hot? They came in 3 months ago, but they're active on the, like, we just don't know how to accurately, adequately, efficiently manage our pipeline. And so what just happens is it grows and grows and grows, and then we say, screw it, I'm not logging into the database. It's a waste of time. I'll go back to my sticky notes and notepad and hope that works. So what we want to do is we want to find a system that is clean and simple to manage. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. And I've been teaching this system for about 16 years. And over 16 years, it's been tested across so many different CRMs, so many different platforms, so many different setups, businesses, all of that. And every time they get it set up, they're like, this is easy and it allows people to know exactly where your database is, because it's not the size of your database that matters, it's the health of your database that matters. So let's jump in. Have you experienced any of the following in the last 12 months? Maybe you've had some feast or famine months. We all know what those are. Great month, bad month, great month, bad month, bad month, bad month, great month, bad month. And you're just like, this is stressful, it's exhausting, and I'm frustrated. Or maybe you've had leads falling through the cracks. You've had that person, you're like, oh, I need to call Joe. And then it's a day goes by, 3 days go by, and you're like, oh crap, I forgot to call Joe. Joe's fallen through the cracks, and now you have a weird, awkward conversation. Or maybe you're just falling behind on your lead follow-up and things are just starting to stack and stack and stack. So now when you log into your CRM, the system's showing you have like 85 calls to make, and now it's just overwhelming. You say, screw it, close it down and move on with your day. Or if you're a team leader, maybe you're struggling to get agents on your team to follow up properly with leads. If any of that is going on, I want you to understand this is what we're going to be fixing today, because right now, the single largest expense in your business is the deals that you're sending to your competitors. Some of you right now are like the Oprah of real estate, and you're like, and you take a client, and you take a client, and you take a client. You're just letting leads come into the system, and then you're doing everything you can to essentially send it to everybody else because you don't have a system for managing your leads. So that's what we're going to be fixing, because if you can fix that and you have a system, a clear plan for how you're going to generate, manage, and convert your leads at scale, that's where you make your money. So you've got to have a plan for how do I get more leads, manage those leads, and convert more leads. We're going to talk about the management today, not the generation. I do a lot of other training on lead gen and lead conversion, but right now you can generate all the leads, but if you can't manage them, you'll never get an opportunity to convert. So that's where we're going to be focused, is on the management. So if you want the slides from today, I'm just going to tell you right now, there is no humanly possible way you are going to be able to capture everything on the slides, because this is very technical. Here's what you want to do. Scan the QR code. We'll pop this up a little later at the end of the presentation, but we've got the slides, a bunch of other free gifts for you that we want to put in your hands. So scan that, fill that out, get your slides, get all the free gifts we want to give you. It's a great way to do this so that you can focus on today and not worry about trying to capture all the notes. Here's what I want you to think about. In the world, there are two types of people in this world. It's going to blow your mind. Ready? Two types of people in the world, and your CRM needs to manage both. Here you go. People you know and people you don't know. You're like, oh, this is mind-blowing. Like, wow, how did I never think of that before? So here's what you want to think about, is that your system needs to know the difference between people you know that are, let's say, in your sphere of influence, past client, friends, and family, so you can treat them differently than people who are coming in through Zillow, Realtor.com, REMAX.com, open houses, whatever it is. Those need to be treated differently. And most CRMs try and shove everybody into the same stages and the same processes. And as a result, what ends up happening is you're like, I don't really want to send that thing out because it's not relevant to some of the people in this pipeline stage or in this stage. And now it's like we're so worried about everything going out. We're sending out things that aren't relevant and all this junk. And that's where we get stuck. So if you treat them differently, now you're able to have automations and AI and different tools handle them differently because you've delineated them in your system. So our process that I'm going to show you treats them differently, but with all of them, you're answering the same question. How will you provide value, build trust, keep in contact until they're ready to move forward? That's what you're trying to figure out, is whether they're in my sphere, past clients, friends and family, or they're a new lead coming in. I've got to build trust, build relationship, and provide value, but it's got to be relevant to who they are and where they are in the process. And the more I can clean that system up, the easier it is for me to leverage the automation and the tools to support me. Now, what I'm going to show you can be built in any CRM. You guys have access to BoldTrail. It's a great platform. Everything that I'm going to show you, we have clients that run variations or modifications of this inside of BoldTrail. So, you may have to tweak a few things here or there, but that's okay. The process and the structure is the same. It's just how you implement it inside of BoldTrail might look different than if you had a different platform or used a different system. So, but whatever I show you here is universal enough to be handled in, I'd say, 95% of all CRM platforms. Also, keep this in mind. The simpler your pipelines and automation, the more likely you or your team is to adopt the system and properly work your leads. So this is all about simplicity. The first time you hear it, it may feel overwhelming, but I promise that when you see it, you get the slides and you go back through it, you're going to go, this is actually really simple. In fact, I had a conversation with a client just 2 days ago who launched on our platform a few weeks back, and she goes, this is so simple. I've been in the business for 25 years and I never imagined that it could be this clean and simple. I'm excited to log into the CRM every day because I now know what I need to do and who I need to call. That makes your life so much simpler. So let's talk about new leads first. These are people that you don't know. So what is the goal with a new lead? The goal is very simple. We have to make contact. We got to make initial contact. So when a new lead comes in through Zillow, Realtor.com, Google PPC, Facebook ads, REMAX.com, whatever it is, the very first goal that I have is I got to talk to you. We got to have a little bit of a conversation, a little tit for tat and back and forth so that I even know, should we keep talking? Should I keep pursuing you? Are we going to have a relationship or not? And if your system isn't built around that goal for any new lead, you're missing out on the opportunity to convert more of them. So what I'm going to show you, done well, will convert 70 to 85% of your new leads you will make contact with in the first 3 days. And then there'll be a handful after that. But let me show you how this works. So every new lead goes into what we call the new lead pipeline. Again, mind-blowing, I know, right? But almost every system has a new lead pipeline stage. That's the first stage that all new leads should be going into from those categories of the I don't know them category. And this is typically the default pipeline stage in your database. Here's how we think about it and how you should think about it as well. This is a waiting room. You do not work your leads in the new lead pipeline. Think of it like a doctor's office. You go sit in the doctor's office, you register, you check in, and then you sit down. The doctor doesn't come out to you and go, so tell me about that growth you're having in that area. Like, that'd be weird if you're sitting in the waiting room having that conversation. So the goal is to get them out of the waiting room as quickly as possible into a pipeline where now I can set up automations and key activities that are going to support me making that initial contact. So they're only in new leads until I start working them. The minute I start to work them, they get out of new leads and they go into what we call the 3-day follow-up plan. This is the next pipeline stage. Guess how many days the 3-day follow-up plan works, right? 3. I've had people go, it doesn't work. And I go, out of curiosity, how long is it taking you to get through the 3-day follow-up plan? And they go, about 7 days. I'm like, did I call it the 7-day follow-up plan? And they're like, no. I said, it's called the 3-day follow-up plan, not the 7-day follow-up plan. If I had a 7-day follow-up plan, I'd give that to you. So this is a 3-day follow-up plan. Again, you still don't know them, but you're going to start working them. Now I'm going to show you what the actual plan is here. And for some of you who've seen me present on this, here's what I promise. You're going to have you're going to recognize this. For those who haven't, you're going to have a mild heart attack. Hang with me. I'll explain it all and make it clear. So here's what this looks like. Lead comes in. over the first 3 days, it's very simple. You're going to make 2 calls a day, send 2 text messages a day, and 2 emails a day. That is 6 contacts a day for the first 3 days. Now, I already know what a lot of you are thinking right now. You're like, I'm out. You lost me at day 1, let alone day 3. Here's what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, I'm going to piss them off and they're not going to call me back, right? That's what everybody's worried about. But here's the reality. They're already not calling you back. You may as well try pissing them off till they do. No, I'm just kidding. You're not actually going to piss them off. In reality, what you're doing is you're following up with them in a way that you're saying, hey, look, I know your world is busy and it is not the lead's responsibility to connect with me. It is my responsibility to connect with the lead. And if you do it in a way that is professional, people love it and they respond to it. So then the next question becomes, but what do I say? Because you'll notice back here, it's 2 calls with voicemail, 2 text messages, 2 emails, 2 calls with voicemail. Always, always, always leave a voicemail. There are some trainers out there who are saying, hey, they recommend 2 things that will absolutely get you flagged as spam. Number 1 is they recommend you double dial. Do not double dial. The FCC is cracking down on that big time. Double dial is where you call, you get their voicemail, you hang up, and you call right back. You get their voicemail, and then you either leave a voicemail or you hang up. That is the fastest way to piss people off and get flagged as spam. You don't do that. And the FCC is massively cracking down on that right now. The second thing that they'll say is, well, don't leave a voicemail. I'm like, what the heck are you? A 16-year-old boy calling a girl because you just got your driver's license and now you want to go out on your first date? Like, that is a terrible plan. You are a sales professional. So people then go, yeah, but what do I say? It's very simple. Hey, this is Travis with REMAX. I got your request for information on 123 Main Street. And I noticed that I don't know what you thought about that house, but if you like it, got a few other properties I think you might really like. Just have a couple quick questions before I can send them out to you because I don't want to waste your time. Give me a call back here on my cell, 949-555-1234. Or what I'll do is I'll shoot you a text and an email in case that's a better way to connect this morning. And if I don't hear back, I'll give you a try a little later this afternoon, just in case that's a better time of day. Hope you have a great day. Look forward to connecting. That's it. A professional sales email. Now I made 3 promises, or voicemail. I made 3 promises in that voicemail. Did you catch them? I'm going to text you, I'm going to email you, and I'm going to call you again. That's it. So now the system should text them on my behalf. The system should email them on my behalf. And then the system should just schedule my afternoon follow-up call or my next follow-up call so that I log into the system later in the day and I go, who do I need to call this afternoon? And I just make those calls. And then I have that same process where I'm constantly promising to call, text, and email again. And I'll try you again tomorrow. So you just do that for 3 days in a row. And here's what I'm going to tell you. When you do this and you do this well, it depends on agent skill, how good you are at leaving voicemails, crafting your text messages and your emails. But we see a 70 to 85% contact rate in the first 3 days, which is the goal of the 3-day follow-up is make contact. Make contact. 70 to 85% in the first 3 days, depending on the agent's skill. That's incredible. Most people convert or contact around 15 to maybe 20% of their leads in the first 3 days. A lot of times it's even less than that. So this works. And now you're like, yeah, but what happens if I don't make contact? Well, glad you asked. So if I don't make contact, and then we'll talk about what happens when you do make contact. So if I don't make contact in the 3-day, they move pipeline stages to what we call the 11-day follow-up plan. These are leads you still don't know because you haven't made contact. So here's what this looks like. It is an automation supported 11-day follow-up plan for any lead not contacted during the 3-day plan. Only about 15 to 30% of your leads should ever end up here. If you have more ending up there, you've got some breakdown somewhere in your 3-day. Either you're not making all the calls, you haven't written good emails or text messages, you're leaving bad voicemails. And so you want to make sure that you're dialing in that, because that should drop the number of people who move to the 11-day. And automated communication here is designed only around one goal, which is get the lead to engage. Get the lead to engage. So the expected contact rate for the 11-day follow-up is 6 calls plus 6 emails plus 6 text messages spread out over the 11 days. So we're going to slow down the cadence, but we're going to check in with them about every other day. And that's going to allow them to kind of, life gets busy, people, life's going on, they fill out the form on your website, and then they got crazy. A lot of things were happening and they've been meaning to call you back, but they haven't. But here's what's really interesting. If you don't make contact in those first 3 days, and then you just keep pushing through, there's a huge spike that happens on days 6 through 11 in that 11-day follow-up plan. And the reason is because you're now in another week. So it's now a week and a half later, their world is settled down, and you're going to hear things like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I haven't followed up. I really appreciate the fact that you've continued to reach out. I do want to talk with you. I do want to engage with you. Everything just got away from me, and I've been getting everything you've been sending. I really appreciate it. Let's schedule time to meet. You will hear that over and over and over again in the 11-day follow-up plan. But with this, again, the same thing. This is where automation comes in. I just want to worry about the calls I need to make. I don't want to send text messages. I don't want to send emails. I want the system to manage that for me. So this is where you're letting the system do the heavy lifting and just say, hey, Travis, these are the 11-day calls you need to make right now. Go make those 11-day calls, move on with my day. So that's where you're letting the system do the heavy lifting. Now, if contact is made in either the 3-day or the 11-day, you're going to route them to one of 4 pipeline stages, and that's it. We're going to keep your pipeline very, very clean. One of 4 stages. Ready? Here's where they're going to go. Either into what we call A leads, B leads, C leads, or prospects. That's it. If I make contact with you, I can only put you in one of 4 pipeline stages, but where I put you is going to determine what happens and what the expectation is on me for how frequently I will be connecting with you. So I'm choosing where to put the lead based on what I'm communicating, what I'm hearing from the lead, what we're talking about. And then from there, I always have a choice to move them where I want them to go. So I'm in control of my database, and I'm in control. I'm not at the mercy of trying to figure out and read the mind of the lead. I just look at, do I feel like doing the work on this lead based on the pipeline stage there? And if I don't, I move the pipeline stage. Or if I talk to them and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called, can we set an appointment? I move the pipeline stage. So we keep it very, very clean, very, very simple, and very, very defined. So here's what this looks like. Your first pipeline is your A leads. A stands for active. There are only 3 groups that should ever go into your A leads. Your A leads are not your hot leads, or I think they're hot leads. Your A leads, it is a very clearly defined pipeline stage. Either I have an active appointment for them to become an active client, or I have an active listing agreement or an active buyer agency agreement. That's it. So if I'm calling on a 3 or 11-day follow-up lead, I make contact and they're like, yes, let's get together on Friday. That is an appointment. They become an A lead. The minute they become an A lead, they don't get to stay there if when I meet with them or I connect with them, they don't sign the listing agreement, they don't sign the buyer agreement, they move to a different pipeline stage. A is only active. And by active, I don't mean active on the website. I mean active client or active appointment to become a client. That's it. So with this, pipeline stage, there is zero automated communication. No drip campaigns, nothing weird going out. All that should be going out to this group is market data or new search data, depending on buyer, seller, or both, and then personal communication from you, because they're either your client or they're about to become a client. And the expectation for this pipeline stage is that they should never go more than 7 days without a contact, a personal call from you. Most of them, if they're active clients, you should be calling them more than once every 7 days anyway, but this allows them to not fall through the cracks. So you let your system monitor your A's, and it just says, hey, is anybody in here? Every day it's looking, is anybody in here gone more than 7 days without a contact? We need to bubble that up to the agent and let the agent know you've got some A's that are way past due for a contact. Don't let them slip through the cracks. Otherwise, if you're up to date with all of your A's, you never get prompted by the system to make your A lead calls, because you're doing your A lead work by keeping in constant communication and contact with them. So that's your A leads. Active, 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 but not active on the website. Active appointment, active buyer agency, active listing agreement. Fastest way to mess this up is put your hot leads, because they're active on the website, into your A lead pipeline, but you have no signed buyer agency or listing agreement or appointment. Next up is your B leads. Your B leads is a little bit different. This is any lead that, based on your communication with them, you expect to buy or sell in the next 90 to 100 days or 3 to 4 months, kind of in that window. So I don't have a signed buyer agency, signed listing agreement. I don't have an active appointment for them to become a client, but I've had good conversation with them, and they're like, yeah, we're just got to get a few more things ready. We got to get approved. We want to do this. We want to do that. And so they're moving quickly, but they're not ready for the appointment. So these are going to become the B leads. Anybody I expect to buy or sell in the next 90 to 100 days or 3 to 4 months. Again, with this group, zero automated communication other than property alerts or market data. And if you want to know more about why that is, we can handle it in the Q&A portion. So the expected contact rate with this group is once every 15 days, so twice a month. Twice a month at minimum, I should be connecting with this group right here. So again, the system monitors, bubbles it up and says, hey, Travis, it's been 15 days, call this person. So I call them, hey, it's Travis with REMAX. It's been about a couple weeks since we last connected. Want to see how it's going, getting approved. Any questions? Let me know what you're running up against. Also, I've been sending you properties, want to make sure they match what you're looking for. So whatever my script is going to be, I'm just doing that at minimum once every 2 weeks to keep this list fresh until they're ready to become an A. That's the goal. I want my Bs to move to A. Now, after that is your C leads. So remember, B leads is 3 to 4 months. Your C leads is going to be anybody who is past 4 months, but usually within 12 months. So outside that 90 to 100 day window, but typically within about a 12-month time frame. So these are the leads that are like about 8 to 10 months out, or we're looking at maybe early spring or January, February before we put our house on the market, and we're sitting here in June. So those are going to go into my C leads. These are people, again, zero automated communication on this group, except for market data, new search results. Again, I can explain it why in the Q&A. Just want to make sure we get through all the core of this. But the expected contact rate is a minimum of once every 30 days. So if it's been more than 30 days, the system will prompt me. I can always contact them more frequently than that, but it's making sure that nothing falls through the cracks. This prevents people from falling through the cracks. Now, the good news is people can move from a C to a C to an A to a B to a prospect or pond lead. So people move around, and every time you're talking to somebody or calling somebody, you want to be thinking, can I move their pipeline stage? How do I get, they're sitting in C, how do I get them into a B? Or they're a B, how do I get that appointment scheduled? So I want to be thinking about, how do I move their pipeline stage? How do I get them to the next level of automation and the next level of connection? Now, the fourth place that I could stick a lead is prospects. Prospects. And this is your lead pond. So this is the stage where you put all of your leads that are not your A leads, your B leads, your C lead, or anybody in your sphere of influence, past client, friends, and family category. Everybody goes into the pond or the prospect thing or the prospect pipeline. You know, people you haven't made contact with, leads who've gone dark, leads who tell you, hey, we went with another agent, whatever it is, they go into the pond. We don't delete them. We keep them because sometimes they come back, and we want to have a record of everybody we've ever connected with or tried to connect with so that when they come back, we know what was going on, what they were looking for, and what they were doing. So here you can have automated communication. With your prospect pond, you can absolutely do automated communication, regular, things going out to them, newsletters, drip campaigns. You can do that on your pond because with your pond, there's no expectation for you to actually reach out to them. But here's where you want to set up automation. Your system should be watching the leads in the pond and watching for high value actions that they're taking. And when they take high value actions, then it should notify you and say, hey, Travis, these 3 leads took high value action. You should try and connect with them again. So then it bubbles them up for me to go, hey, let me just give those 3 a call today, see if I can get them on the phone, or maybe put them into a campaign where I'm going to call them for a few days in a row, see if I can connect with them. But if I can't, I just leave them in the prospect pond, no big deal. And when they take the next high value action, the system will let me know and I can call them again on that. But I'm letting the system and the automation and the AI do the heavy lifting on that pipeline stage. So what about managing the leads past clients, sphere of influence, and referrals? So here's what this is going to look like. Talked about the leads you don't know that are coming in through Zillow, Realtor, all of that. What about the leads you do know? Your people. It's very simple. 3 pipeline stages. That's it. 3 simple categories they could go into. Your top 50, your top 100, or what we call your generic past clients, sphere of influence, friends, and family. 3 buckets. And it's very simple. Your top 50 are people that you really want to nurture a relationship with. So you're going to connect with them once every 30 days or once a month on average, calling them, personal texts, voice memos, little videos like, hey, I was just thinking about you, hope you're well, how's your trip to Hawaii, whatever it is. These are people that I'm going to invest more time, energy, and money into because they're either my best referrers, my best past clients, or people that I really, really want to become clients. Maybe they're people that I know have their youngest kid entering their senior year of high school, and they're about to become empty nesters, and they're sitting on a 5-bed, 4-bath house, and they're like, this is just too much. And at some point, we're going to need to talk about downsizing this. So I want to start those relationships in advance of when they're needing to buy or sell, so that when they're ready to buy or sell, I have a better opportunity of being in position to get an opportunity to potentially list or help them buy. So this is just, who do you want to be? You get to choose. Who are the people that I really want to build a relationship with? And here's the thing, you can always change it. So let's say you call somebody in the top 50 and they're like, oh, Travis, hey, it's great to talk to you. Yeah, what's changed in our world? Well, we bought a house. And you're like, well, clearly it wasn't with me. So you block their number. No, you don't do that. At this point, you're just like, hey, congratulations. That's really exciting. Where are you guys moving to? You fake happiness for them because they clearly aren't your friend. And then you move them to a different pipeline stage and you move somebody else into the top 50 slot. So it's not that they're always going to be the top 50. It's just that they're the top 50 right now. And so I'm going to be connecting with these people once a month with just personal connection, personal calls, personal communication. That's where my referrals and repeat business is really going to be driven from. The next one is your top 100. These are the next 100 people. So between these 2 pipelines, 150 people. We have found that that is about the max that people can effectively manage and build and maintain relationships with. These are people you're committing to connect with once every 90 days. Once every 90 days. So once a quarter. Now, here's the cool thing. If you have a full top 50 and a full top 100, 150 people, and you know your top 50 are once a month and your top 100 are once a quarter, those, to keep that list on schedule, it's just 5 calls a day, 5 days a week, 3.5 weeks out of the month. That's it. And you keep that entire group warm and on schedule and nurtured. That's it. We're not talking like heavy call volume. It's just on the way to a listing appointment. Those are by the way, in the car, best time to make these calls, because otherwise they run long. And then we lie to ourselves that we actually did actual sales work. So these are the ones you're in like, hey, I'm in the car on the way to an appointment. Just thinking about you, wanted to give you a call, see how your trip to Hawaii was. Give me a quick call back when you get a chance. Talk soon. Click, move to the next one. And I bang out those calls on the drive to and from appointments while I'm in the car, because it keeps these calls from going long. And if you start to feel like they're going long, you just go, wow, hey, real quick. Like I mentioned, I'm on my way to an appointment. It sounds like we have a lot to catch up on. Let's do this. What's a good time later today or tomorrow where we can carve out some time and really chat? I'd love to connect with you and hear about your trip. And now I'm rescheduling them, and then I'm back on my calls. So these are good past clients you wouldn't mind doing business with again. People that you want to become better referrers, better past clients, maybe people you just met at church or the gym or golf course or whatever it is that you're like, man, I really like these people. It'd be weird if I called them once a month right now, but I could call them once a quarter, maybe a little bit more. And I'll put them in my top 100 with the hope of getting them into my top 50. So that's what your top 100 is. And then the last is what we call your generic past client, sphere of influence, friends and family. This is no specific commitment for contacting. So think of this like the prospect pond for your sphere. Because we need to treat people differently, whether they're people we know or people we don't know. This allows you to have two kind of ponds. One is your personal pond of my past client, sphere of influence, friends and family that I don't have to work all the time. And they're there, and occasionally I may jump in and give them a call, check in with them, wish them a happy birthday on Facebook or whatever it is. But I'm not really investing time and energy. But again, they could call me and all of a sudden say, hey, we're ready to buy or sell. And I'm going to move them into my A, B, or C, depending on what's going on. But, and maybe I'm really starting to like this person and I move them into a top 50 or top 100 slot. But this group, they're getting automated things. You can send newsletters, property alerts, market reports, stuff like that to this group as it makes sense. But, for the most part, I'm really not investing time or energy into this any more than I am into my prospect pipeline. Now, here's why this system works. I know that felt like a lot, sip out of a fire hose. We're moving very fast. Like I said, when you get the slides and you kind of sit down and you digest it, you start to realize, oh, there's only 4 places a new lead can go once I make contact. That's easy. And every time I call a B lead, do I still need to treat them like a B lead, or am I done following up with them that frequently? I'm moving them to C. So you are in total control, and that's just the leads you don't know. Then you have the leads you know. It's 3 pipeline. Are you a top 50? No. Are you a top 100? No. Great. You're going the generic pool. And so now once I organize it, it's just very simple, because every day I log in and the system is telling me, you've got these people who are overdue in your top 50, these people who are overdue in your top 100, in your Bs, your As, whatever it is. And now all you have to do is not worry about who do I call. The system identifies the people in each category based on your rules that you've set up, that this is my contact commitment. Then it goes, great, based on what you've committed to. Here's the 15 calls you need to make today, or 10 calls you need to make today. Go get them. You make your 10 calls, you move on with your life. That's it. Makes it so simple. So this has 2 very critical pieces. Number 1, Clear definitions of what constitutes an A, a B, or a C. So if you really like using hot lead, warm lead, nurture lead, prospect lead, whatever it is, fine. Just get very, very clear on what constitutes an A, a B, or a C, and what your commitment will be if somebody's in that stage. That's it. So number 2 is that second part, which is clear commitments for how you will treat them in the follow-up. So you may have clear definitions of what they are, but you don't know what you're supposed to do. You've got to have both clearly defined. And when you do that, you can build automated reminder systems to make sure your leads don't fall through the cracks, make sure your contact attempts stay up, helps your team more, and it makes it, if you're a team leader, easy to look at everybody's pipeline and go, who's on schedule, who's behind, who needs coaching, who needs accountability, who needs training. And now we're focused on actually moving people through the pipeline stage. If this is making sense, can you guys just drop a yes into the chat? I know we covered a lot here. I just want to make sure that I know that we're tracking here. Sorry, I told you guys, this is not my typical presentation. We are getting technical. Yes, 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 good. Okay, cool. Awesome. So let's talk about automation and AI, the buzzwords, right? So automation and AI, here's what I want you to think about. They are supplements and supports for your outreach efforts. They should not, you should not use AI yet. There may come a point in time where I feel like it's better, but I've looked at every automated AI and they're getting better and they will continue to get better. This is the worst AI will ever be. I want you to think about that. AI today is the worst AI you will use moving forward. It will always keep getting better. But right now, you should not use it to replace or attempt to automate the relationship or the lead follow-up. So don't try and just use AI to work your 3 days and your 11 days because you're like, I don't want to make a call. You do that and you'll never convert at the level our people are converting at. And the reason is very simple. Everybody who's showing you all those AI stats, like AI can outperform salespeople. It's not true. AI can outperform bad or lazy salespeople, but you have great salespeople making great calls. They crush the AI numbers. AI is better than people not following up, but if you're going to follow up and you're willing to do the actual sales work, you'll double the conversion and the actual rates of an AI tool, because people prefer talking to people. And at some point they're like, oh, this is just an AI system. Like, we still want to talk to people. We still want to engage with people. And that's the thing to keep in mind, is that AI oftentimes says the wrong thing, does the wrong thing, botches the conversation, pisses people off. I had a client just recently, they turned the AI on their lead follow-up. The AI got really confused and the person realized that it was AI. They got pissed and they bounced. It was a $700,000 house from Zillow. They convert those extremely well. They lost about a $21,000 commission because the AI went rogue. It's close, but it's not there yet. So just be really careful about where you use it, but there are some very great places to use AI. So here's one of my favorites. Call recording and AI call insights. I believe you should be recording all of your calls in your system. All of your calls in your system. Then you have AI analyze those calls. You could do it yourself, or you can have different tools that do it for you, but the AI starts to give insights. And now you're looking for patterns, objections, missed calls to action. As the AI gets more familiar with your calls, then it can even be used for role play with you or the agents on your team. You can coach now based on facts, not feelings. Leaders are able to spot patterns fast, and you improve faster with real fast feedback. So rather than going, I'm going to listen to my call over and over and over again, I got to listen to all my agents' calls, you let AI do the heavy lifting. It then spits out reports. And from there, you can coach and work with the agents, and they can get real-time feedback. They can run their calls through the AI analysis as well. There's really, really cool tools that are out there that do some of these things. But I love recording every call because you just have a record of whatever was going on. Plus, you're able to start to figure out, where are we dropping the ball, or where am I dropping the ball in my calls? Wow, I'm not actually asking for the appointment like I thought I was. Or wow, I keep facing this objection. Now I can start to see that and start to work on handling that particular objection or pushback. So this is a really great use of AI. The second one, for salespeople, how many of you love admin work? You're like, man, I promise there's a handful of you that are like, I love admin. But 90% of salespeople freaking hate admin. So this is where AI comes in really good hand, because now if you're recording your calls, you just have AI summarize the call that you just had. It's a 5-minute call. You run it through AI and it's like, summarize everything that was in the call. It pulls that back. You drop that in a note. You pin that note right up to the top of the contact's lead record. And now next time you pull it up, you know exactly what they were looking for, what they were doing, what they wanted, and I don't have to fish for that information. You can also, from the AI, a lot of times determine if there was a next step identified, make tasks from those next steps so you don't drop the ball on them. You have less admin work because you're not typing all the notes yourself, hunting and pecking, because some of you still type like this. But you just simplify your admin work so that you're not doing the stuff that doesn't make you money. And for those who have team leaders, when you have these types of tools available, you increase the adoption rate, because now your salespeople are doing more sales work, less admin work. And they're like, actually, I will go into the CRM, because the CRM tells me who I need to call, does the heavy lifting with a lot of the calling and the texting on my behalf, and it automates the call capture and the notes and the tasks, and that makes my life a million times easier. So the more you can start to integrate the tools into your workflow, the better it's going to be for you, and if you have a team, for the agents on your team. So remember, guys, the single largest expense in your business is the deals you are losing to your competitors. That's it. And where you're losing them is in the pipeline stage. So now you have a decision to make. We've covered a lot of stuff right now, and I want to make sure we leave time for Q&A. So you've got a decision to make. You can go back to your CRM the way you've got it set up, or you can make a decision to set it up the right way, get coaching, get help, get support to kind of guide you through these processes, because Bold Trail can do this stuff. All these tools out there can do these things. It's just a matter of not getting stuck, and this is where most people get stuck. So elite agents make a decision to take action while the door is still open on their goals. You can still hit your goals. There's still time to grow your business to where you want to grow your business, to get to that point where you're doing 3 deals a month, 4 deals a month. If you're a team, 10, 20, 30 deals a month, whatever that number is for you, there's still time to get there, but you got to clean up the pipeline. And my team and I can help you shortcut the path to your goals, guys. So we don't build out stuff, by the way, in Bold Trail. We can coach you, help you with all of that. We're not Bold Trail experts, so just want to be clear on that. But what we can do is we can coach you, we can come alongside of you, we can help you not just clean up your pipelines, work on your marketing, your sales, your conversion, build the team. And it's really for those of you who are high-performing agents. You're either getting close to being ready for a team, or you have a team. We would love to talk with you. We would love to help you. You can grab the success kit no matter what. You're going to get the slides. You're going to get, mindset training modules, 2026, should have said 2026, 2027 business planning guide. That's all in there. Slides from today. And then for those of you that are really ready to level it up, and you're like, man, I'm ready to either build a team, or I have a team and I need to get this stuff figured out and dialed in, we'd love to talk with you, get on the phone with you, or a Zoom call with you. So you can do that all through this QR code. Get what you want, leave what you don't. Totally happy to help you. And then let's get to questions.
Perfect. My camera should be back on by this point. There we are.
Yep.
Travis, that was amazing. Tons of information there, and I love that direction that you're going with. I am fascinated myself, and I want to go. I was answering questions in the Q&A and chat and everything, and I can't wait to get the recording, which is our number one question, not for you, Travis, but yes, the recording will be going out to everyone who's recorded with a follow-up email. We'll have this QR code also in there for you to be able to scan at a later date, and you'll be able to get the slides and everything. But let's jump into a few. We've got a handful here.
Yeah.
The first one, Andy was asking if you use this plan consistently, what type of conversion percentage can you expect if you're working with leads that do not know you?
That is a great question, Andy. That is a skills dependent question. So, and it depends on the lead source. It depends on a lot of factors beyond just working it in the system. So, like I mentioned about, like, let's take the 3-day follow-up plan. We're seeing people who are good connecting at 70 to 85% of their leads in the first 3 days, which means they can now route them to A, B, C, or prospect. However, what do you do with them when they're in there? Do you ask for the appointment? Are you good at listing presentations? Are you good getting buyers to move forward? There's so many other factors that are going to impact, or are you getting crappy leads from somewhere, and so you're making contact, but you're dumping them all in prospects. There's too many things, too many factors to say that working a system like this is going to X% grow your leads. But here's what I want you to think about. If you were to work the 3-day follow-up plan, what we have seen is that that will oftentimes triple the contact rate or quadruple the contact rate in the first 3 days. If you had the same number of leads but connected with 3 to 4 times as many of them and kept your conversion rates the same all the way down your pipeline, what would happen to your growth? You'd 3 to 4x your growth, because you're changing the top level trigger of, I got to make contact to even get them into the pipeline. So if I connect with 3 to 4 times more people in that first 3 days, it stands to reason, if all my other metrics stay the same down the line, that I'm going to close 3 to 4 times as many deals. But again, it's going to be very dependent on a lot of different things.
Excellent. He also asked how long you've been coaching residential real estate.
16 years. So almost 17.
Mara, I was asking about are the people in the top 50 pipeline not the people in the other pipelines, A, B, and C? You may have covered it after she asked, but we'll leave it in here.
So people in the top 50 and top 100 can move into your A's, B's, and C's. But my top 50, top 100, they're not people that have said, I'm ready to buy or sell. They're people in my network, my sphere of influence, my past clients, my friends and family, that at some point I would love for them to become an A, a B, or a C, because I call them on my schedule. And as I call them, they're like, oh my gosh, Travis, I'm so excited to hear from you. We were just talking about, we think we're ready to sell, we think we're ready to buy. And now that lead moves from the top 50 temporarily, moves from the top 50 into maybe my B pipeline or my A pipeline if I schedule an appointment with them. And then once they close, I move them back into my top 50 because they're still a top 50 person. They're just a top 50 person who went through my ABC pipeline, got to the closing table, then found their way back to the top 50. Great question. It's a very common question, by the way.
Denise, I think Travis and I may be answering this one together, and Travis, chime in if you have something different. What I'm saying, she says, are the top 50 and top 100 with A, B, and C pipelines set up with these stages as tags? So in Bold Trail, you're probably going to set this up as hashtags. So we'll put them in there.
Yeah, you can do it with hashtags. So within Bold Trail, you've got certain pipeline stages that you can't change. So there's kind of set pipeline stages. So what you want to do is you want to use as few of those set pipeline stages as possible. You can use new lead, you can use active, you can use prospect, but what you want to do is you want to define them differently, and then within there you go, okay, so active, So I move them from new lead into active 3-day FUP, and then from active 3-day FUP to active 11-day FUP. So you be careful with hashtags because they can really grow and get wild and out of control. And then you're like, these are stupid and they don't mean anything. So you want to really limit your tag usage, but you can do it with a combination of anybody in active is going to be 3, 11, A, B, C, top 50, top 100. And then my prospects, if they're going into prospects, they just go into the prospect pipeline stage.
And the beauty of that type of system is really how do you understand and how will you work it?
Mm-hmm.
Setting it up, however Travis sets it up, or I would set up, or Holly, I saw her on there. That's all well and good, but if you're not going to use it,
Yeah.
make sure you set up how you're going to do
And
so.
here's the interesting thing. We've never had anybody set this up and go, this sucks. Everybody's like, I can't believe it's this simple. Now you got to get into the system and work the leads like this. If the system's like, you should call this person, you should call this person, and you're like, yeah, screw you, system. Then the system's not going to fix you not picking up the phone and doing your job, but it makes it easier to do your job and know what you're supposed to do.
Um, James asked basically when a new online lead comes in, I'm assuming you mean leads there, James, come reach out and have a bad or disconnected phone number, keep emailing them for 14 more days, or go straight to prospect.
As long as the email address is good, you keep emailing them for 14 more days. You just change the emails that they're going to get in the automation based on, hey, it looks like we had an issue with your phone number, been trying to connect with you. What's a good phone number for us to connect? And so you have a different set of emails that go out if either you don't have a phone number or the phone number is bad. And then you do that for 14. And a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Here's my correct number. And you're like, great. Then if you don't make contact after the 3 plus 11 days, so 14 total days, you move them into the prospect pine. Do not, as long as you have one valid piece of contact information, you never move them into bad leads, and never, ever, ever delete a lead under my opinion, any scenario. You don't delete leads, you move them to bad leads. And the reason you don't delete leads is people sometimes come back, give you valid contact information, and the system tracks it back to them through cookies and different things. And then you can go, oh, okay, Joe, that's your name. So now I can pull him out, but I have a record of what he was searching on the first time when he told me his name was Mickey Mouse.
And we're going to go kind of rapidly here. We only have
Yep.
a minute or two left for this, but I have a personal phone number and my CRM has a separate number for automations and follow-ups. How do you manage both numbers with clients without creating confusion?
Great question. You train all of your clients to use your office number. The second thing you do is you grab your phone and you update your contact record to have your office phone number in your contact record that you share out with people. So the next time you call them, it'll likely tag it back to you and you just say, hey, I've got some new contact information. Here you go. So now when you call from your CRM number, it lets them know that this is Travis calling, and they don't know you're calling from your office line at that point. But all new leads, don't give them your cell, give them your CRM number. That's what we train everybody to do because they don't know the difference. And then you could say, hey, when we get to, actually, I still wouldn't do it, but you could say when we get to the closing process, you can switch over to my cell. But the reality is, talk about a time period where you want to have a record of everything that's being communicated back and forth with your leads. It's in the contract to close phase. So they can be like, you told me this, you told me that. It's like, no, it's in the system. So,
And quickly, I'll answer for some folks. There are a lot of different AI, and you can tell me also, Travis, the one you're using to record calls in AI. There's a lot of different things you can use out there, dial pad, things of that nature. There's something you're using to record calls in AI with.
so our system records call. I believe Bull Trail can record calls, can't it?
That is something I am not 100% familiar
I
with.
believe it can. I think you're able to record calls through Bull Trail. Um, uh, and I may be wrong on that, but I thought it could. It well maybe turned off, Holly, but I would just find out if it could be turned on. Some states have that feature disabled. It's only because they want you to make sure that you are following the dual notification. So if you're in a single party notification state, you don't have to tell them the call is being recorded. If you're in a two party notification state, All you have to do is just very quickly, early on in the call, it doesn't have to be right when they pick up the phone, but once, like, oh, hey, real quick before I forget, I just want to let you know our phone system automatically records all of our calls for quality purposes. So tell me about the house you're looking for. I don't ask them if it's okay, I just let them know. And then we move on, and they've been notified, and they forgot it because I asked them a question about what they're looking for.
Yeah. And really with that, follow your local state laws,
Yep.
whatever your local regulations
Yep.
are on that for recording and things of that nature. Well,
Yeah.
I apologize to everyone if there's more questions out there. We have unfortunately run out of time here. But Travis, thank you so much
Hey,
for
thank you guys.
joining
I
us
know this
here.
isn't my typical presentation where it's like lots of jokes and fun, but hopefully this was valuable, you guys.
And I hope everyone who has joined us today will join us for our next session on September 24th. That's once again a Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. That's going to be Katie Lance, and it's going to be From Invisible to Irresistible: How to Stand Out, Get Noticed, and Become the Go-To Choice in Any Market. Thank you once again, Travis. Thank you all for joining us and spending your time with us today.
It's great to be with you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great one.